different in today's tutorial. I wanted to put together something for 4th of July. And the great thing about this is that it doesn't have to be just for 4th of July. This can be done for Memorial Day, Veterans Day, any time that you want to show your patriotic spirit for the United States. And I didn't want to create just a typical eyeshadow combination because anybody can do that and they're all around on YouTube. I wanted to be a little bit more unique this year. So I'm creating DIY red, white, and blue false eyelashes. Ha! This is actually very easy to do. It does require patience though, so if you're not a patient person by nature, this will frustrate you and it won't work. So you do have to have a little bit of patience for this tutorial. You will also need the following items. Rhinestones in red, clear, and blue. I picked mine up from Sally Beauty Supply because it was so last minute for me and I didn't have time to plan. So I spent a little bit more than I should have on them. But you can find rhinestones on eBay or on Google Shopping for really inexpensive in red, clear, and blue. You will also need something to pick up the rhinestones. I also picked up this Rhinestone Picker Upper, that's what it's called, from Sally Beauty Supply. A sheet of aluminum foil. You will also need some kind of adhesive. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be using one from Ardell. This is the LashTite adhesive. A warning about this adhesive. This is meant for the individual flares that you would apply one at a time onto your eyes. And there is a special remover that is required to dissolve this glue and get it off of your eyes. So it's not made for full strip lashes, and I don't recommend that you use it with full strip lashes either. But what's great about using it in this kind of project is that it really adheres the rhinestones to the lashes. They're not going to move, they're not going to fall off, and they are going to stay there. You will also need false eyelashes of your choosing. In today's tutorial, I'm using a style called Forget Me Not from inkyminky.com, but you can also use styles from brands like Red Cherry. I recommend Red Cherry number 523, number 415, WSP. Eyelash styles that are really full are going to be the type that you want to use for this kind of project. And you will also need some toothpicks. So let me show you how to create 4th of July DIY false eyelashes.
First thing we're going to do is take some of the LashTite adhesive and pour a small puddle onto our sheet of aluminum foil. You only need a small square of aluminum foil for this. This adhesive dries incredibly quickly, so you don't need to pour out a whole huge puddle because it will dry up before you get the chance to use it all. So pouring out a little bit at a time is the way to go. Then I'm going to use the Rhinestone Picker Upper and take a clear rhinestone, dip it into the glue, and then apply it onto the lashes. This does take some maneuvering. There were times when I was creating these where I was able to get the rhinestone to come right off of the picker upper immediately. Other times I had to use a toothpick to help me to get it onto the lash, as you'll see later on in this tutorial. And so I'm just continuing that same procedure here with a blue rhinestone. And you can create your own pattern. It's completely up to you as to what you want the rhinestones to look like and how you want them to be grouped together on the lashes. And the great thing about this type of project is that you can use any number of rhinestone colors of your choosing. It doesn't have to be just patriotic like we're doing here today. But also if you're in another country, say Germany for example, you could choose to use black, yellow, and red for your patriotic colors here instead. And you may have already noticed that I poured out some more of the LashTite adhesive because my first puddle was getting dried up, and you will need to do this throughout this project depending on how fast you work. But don't be afraid to go slow and take your time too, because I mean this little bottle, I didn't even go through it for this project. So using less at a time will help you to spread it out if you do want to take your time. And the way that you'll know that you need a fresh dollop of glue is when your current puddle of glue starts to get too tacky and you put a rhinestone in it and it doesn't come out of the glue as easily as it did before. It's a good idea to have a few toothpicks on hand too, because you want to make sure that you're always using a dry toothpick that doesn't have any dried glue on it to help get the rhinestone off of the picker upper tool that we're using here. Sometimes after you've used a toothpick a few times to get a rhinestone onto the lash, it can get gooped up with glue and then it makes it harder to. So don't be afraid to change out your toothpick as often as you need to throughout this project. And if you've ever looked at some of the companies out there that offer the rhinestone embellished lashes, then you already know that some of them are really expensive. So this is a great project if you've ever wanted to try the crystal eyelashes, but you didn't want to spend the amount of money that these companies were charging for them. And the great thing is that you can create your own color combination, you can do your own patterns, and rhinestones are really inexpensive. And those are our final blinged out patriotic eyelashes.
I hope you found this helpful today, and let me know what you will be rocking this 4th of July. Are you going to go with blinged out falsies, or are you going to stick with an eyeshadow look? Let me know below. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.